Causes of judgment: legal actions against the County of Orange, California. Preface 1. As clearly laid out in this descriptive and courtroom evidence exhibit, a cartoon phenomena is visible on map, binding topography. Here situated means, the entities, the image, the vision and or act of God's Almighty, deposes criteria of phony assertion bringing to courts. 2. The above and under entitled exhibitions alleges, in direct violation of U.S. laws, a magistrate and the accused did see our character witness and with an intention of inflicting rape, assault, and seditious acts of treason, tried prohibited predicate and unlawful countermeasures. 3. If in its own regarded, a communist leader's concerted atomic conspiracies readiness to dislodge our tenants' residence the subject of same double sides to live their lives as U.S. counterparts, the fallacies of disingenuous detention bring may be researched. 4. The cartographic topography and global intrinsic telepathy with all citizens, this means deaf, dumb, blind, afflicted and sheriff detention bring candor who neither describe this material fact and resort to altercating us with mental health deceivers because of their double side to live their lives as degenerate and daily rapist murderers in interplanetary wheels as we speak. These outlaws in disguise do hell aside to human anatomy routinely in interdimensional placard destinations they procreate from dunder to call a sepulcher away in the place of life everlasting defined as non-degenerate virus and pro-life interests. 5. If as suchly the word of wafer adages a contention to build thereupon, oppose neither a sequester nor an photographic display that is heaven sent unless you want Steve to situate prism hold and / or electric current diplomacy for the deputies I hate. 6. In an effort to be of service and moreover in regarded as factual, that of acute hearing perception otherwise explained in public defenders' offices as telepathic like communion between relay assuagements and trusted opposition, these are the grounds for tentative dismissal of phony detention bring depictions and cause for celebration, did we seat so Wardley? 7. If seditious acts of treason is an ugly word to decide, police and sheriff units in care coordinators regard are in league with the devil, and when it all seems wrong, kill the beast and fight in courts with words of alarm in connection with a resource that we see and suchly the subject of arrange the pieces as they come, one by one will continue. 8. A district attorney is a false front for Lucifer to these aims we see. On one hand these individuals pretend to be upstanding citizens, but we seated and vindicated our firm and uncontested conviction as noted. 9. Due to the factual adages that of their double side to live their lives as the said evilest degenerate and regression aliens in interplanetary and interdimensional physical existence, the subjects of destination placard and life everlasting will continue to be an integral part of the obligations we live and seek as. 10. In so describing, these are the said character flaws of fictitious people, and if our holy and board certifiable acquittals and reprieves is not enough to remove the doubts and the threats and doubts persist, our involvement may concert a tentative need to, be that assimilation of evolution and integration stepping stones if we see straight and are in our eyes to work out the distance between senses for the sake of expertise and youth. If applicable. Petitioner prays for peace to be spoken. Morning meditation. Morning comes with a breath of fresh air and the night has memories to clear. There's always a war we can lose, winning is only for fools, therefore go with God, send in sickness and in health and with these deputies. Amen. Pages under construction. The litigants. November 2, 2015. The people of the United States of America represented by aka Stephen Van Arroyo DBA Stephen V. Schaffer. Plaintiffs vs. Defendants, the County of Orange, California, Sheriff Department, Probation Department. Collaborative Courts Esquire, that of Telecare with ANDS, Mental Health Department OC, is a U.S. attorney liable for damages that of County Escrow? Defined, Chapters 1. The Punitive Damages Statute, 1, is the above and under entitled California Civil Code Statute on Punitive Damage a law. Claimants, evidence to suggest the counties of Orange, California do still and done wrongfully prohibited predicate and culpable violations are certifiable recollected and in accordance with the foregoing statutes, which read as follows. 2. California Civil Code Section 3294, which states as follows: in an action for the breach of an obligation not arising from contract, where it is proven by clear and convincing evidence that the defendant has been guilty of oppression, fraud, or malice, the plaintiff, in addition to the actual damages, may recover damages for the sake of example and by way of punishing the defendant. Oppression is defined as despicable conduct that subjects a person to cruel and unjust hardship in conscious disregard of that person's rights. Fraud means intentional misrepresentation or deceit. Malice is defined as conduct which is intended by the defendant to cause injury to the plaintiff or that shows a willful and conscious disregard of the rights or safety of others. Count 1 Title 18 and GT, Part I and GT, Chapter 79 and GT, 1621 previous next 1621. Perjury generally defined: a. Having taken an oath before a competent tribunal, officer, or person, in any case in which a law of the United States authorizes an oath to be administered, that he will testify, declare, depose, or certify truly, or that any written testimony, declaration, deposition, or certificate by him subscribed, is true, willfully and contrary to such oath states or subscribes any material matter which he does not believe to be true, or, b. in any declaration, certificate, verification, or statement under penalty of perjury as permitted under Section 1746 of Title 28, United States Code, willfully subscribes as true any material matter which he does not believe to be true, is guilty of perjury and shall, except as otherwise expressly provided by law, be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years, or both. This section is applicable whether the statement or subscription is made within or without the United States. Chapter 1 The said facts and unlawful proprieties of perjuries taken 1. In so situating a gun has words to lie for and in views we seated as in its own regarded observation and opinions expressed, the subject that of seditious acts of treason, we saw, the people of the county of Orange, California assumed a liability in which we seated a victim of said wit court's aspirations and s tentative desire to falsify the docket in an effort to construe not a liability. 2. The fullness of their envy is neither an excuse to design an abetment, that of crime and terror nor describe never a good and relevant matter we saw deputies are in fact the evilest Luciferian-like degenerate aliens, here's how to tell. 3. A despicable desire that of fornicate improper, the animal life we notices are dungaree disregard and degenerate aliens I see hell-bent in areas that of deceive beyond human comprehension with the likenesses of Satan. We noticed your intended victim's reflector field mechanics has an interceptor resource by which to resurrect a good image, that of truth, justice, and the American way in an effort to collaborate more effectively so contended. 4. Of this moreover, county detention purposely and with the intent to institutionalize or imprison, failed to convey an iota of relevant and factual meaning as to wit esq. Or county lockup for fear they'll notice their soul-snatching plans. That and because county detention seeks can of tuna we see I stock and for all regarded opinions expressed disconcerted appropriate accord the example s set are in continental computer algorithms phony or not. 5. I saw county council take up a side that of the disbelief to assimilate an effort to endorse a cow manure lip server's a tentative need to razz in areas by which to come clean for and said deputies assigned either have some conniving to situate because of their false pretenses by which to accuse you/me/us. In seeing the wrong footing depose all a global telepathic godly intervention can decide due to the suggested double side to live their lives, as described by a court we envisioned. 6. In further from the relevance we contend for these degenerate aliens, the police and sheriff units I say get off by wasting human-like individual we see souls? With a passion of likeness to that of wildcat dogs and many more reptilian rat dunder happy to be a free lifestyle as we see we say, live, and contrive in enemy infantry for me to interpret not a face. 7. Able to transform their physical appearance in a single offer and s disguised as your mother, father, sisters, and brothers you say are indeed convicted alcohol/drug offenders and counselors of phony religious stories, all the king's horsemen and all the king's men and the fullness of earth, wines, fires, oceans, atomic know-hows, platform mechanics, said universal interdimensional and interplanetary disease-like affliction are calculating aggressor phonies to their needs here in situation. Ethic calling us, descriptive encode in star-based internal command communications and intercepts inter alia despec if we are in our own eyes to project and countermeasure. 8. So by saying perjury will decide, clearly a cause for condescending and acute hearing respor and despite ironies that of US/Soviet leaders lead an inside and crooked opposition to every syllable of witness protection contention / combined with an extraterrestrial name we know as Israel deceive if I caught to each his own avoided our audio and visual relative courtroom evidence exhibits and engages in poisoning ethic conducive to they who teach ethical and clinical psychiatric principles is why we ward off police discharges a weapon when they're to seek fellow American presidents alky and phony. I do the way I hear of the care coordinators' involvement to swindle, lie, intimidate, and hinder these proceedings is funny. 9. In an effort to situate a higher mass and a stronger flag when I do is a subject care coordinator doesn't describe, the mental health clinics do seek or see Judge Williamson stay or vindicate a witness accounting to the transgressions of phony lawyer credentials, all talk, can't understand in defense of their characterized and sodomic regression desires on this plane and thereabouts within the confines of interdimensional and interplanetary co-existence. 10. By these accorded pretenses the interplanetary creatures in question formed an opinion throughout the years of our conscious reputation to design an affiliation to that of truth, justice, and freedom. In arduously what is this that stands before us at courthouses? Lord, I did say. A meal deterrence action aisle vigils need to cross paths to offer a way to fight for dungaree dunder, and stupefy the status quo that of our intercept services and act as if as though every and any excuse is cause to kill a discovery of replica citizens pretending to be associated with God, the non-degenerate alien side scuba. 11. By these fallacies and backstabbing conniving women's attire we see the persons in charge of our communities alongside Secret Service's rancor, abandoned every moral to rescind on their sworn oaths and pledges to our judges' predications. By word of excellence the police nearby harbor a killer's desire to inherit solely spirited placard destinations and offer hell and death as phase advancement criteria. 11. Do we see transcripts of our stated factual accounting is that of a phony transcription ring used to decide all to do with deceive alone human individual and offer inconsiderate condemnation as to what we said will take asides from the said fleeing felons at Kurt's topic we researched the phony mental deceivers discount our work ethics and for reasons I see I catch in the act right now ongoing. 12. Who is like unto the wildcats and dogs of yesteryears gone? The county leading the Antichrist and anti-equation desires act out truancy and were cited and released failures to appear at the most reverent and supreme courts of Judge William P. Williamson's, attention sir. Is a matter to flee like a felon and offer a solution of prejudicial and discriminating destitution credits with all parties involved to that of which is of greatest importance. 13. The violations we hear weigh more than the measure of perjury in so calling to the stand we see additional code violations such as murder, mayhem, kidnap, fraud, obstructing justice, cover-up, seditious acts of treason, conspiracy to commit aggravated murder and intercepted tries to launch attempts to swindle and kill our claimant, petitioner, host, witness, and victims abused, the hereby accused take notice. 14. The individual capacities each to their candid expressions of I plead the fifth are said lived in area of research. When cross-examined each and every individual capacity named in this recollection of material concert a false disregard to the significance of propensities problems to lie for, each one to his understanding of I do did tell a lie in an effort to conceal what kind of human they really are so contending. These are my friends I say. Can't live with them and can't live without them not knowing which side to stand thereupon. 15. In their recollection of assessment team's phony depiction of a stated, divine-like intervention, aided by visual, court exhibits, made clear to the public by these his/our presence, the Huntington Beach, Police Department, the Sheriff Department counties where I resided, and all ensigns of extradition a matter to cut a deal for I say anyway asking? 16. Regardless of the differences of opinions and with those differences to adjust for, and so long as the will to consider upgrades, new builds, improvements in alien technologies, some friendly completion, the institution of women to see, should all acquaintances be forgotten and noted as funny to consider and sport an impunity award of the such to see, in accordance with this paragraph, and to avoid condemnation of a said allegations willfully with intent to incapacitate, obstruct justice, cover up the facts, swindle and falsify the record, and talk cowboy dungaree good to see in contradiction to that of a good lord's profound and personal dislike so contended. 17. Clearly indisputable offenses. The following individuals most culpable. A day in court did decide district attorney is in contempt for what we tested at Sheriff Hutchens' curricula, who did oversee ICBM launch tries and cloak and dagger ploys to outsmart and abet in these inexcusable behaviors and code enforcement violations.